It only took me a few months, but I finally worked up enough courage to face my fears and beat Slender the 8 Pages once and for all. What's that? Oh, they made another Slender game. Great. I am a huge Slender Man fan. As you can see by my shirt, I'm mixing Marble Hornets and Slender. I love the whole mythology. I think it's fantastic. So when I heard that they were going to be making not a sequel so much as a reimagining of Slender, the original Slender, I was obviously excited. And then when Marble Hornets, when the crew joined in to write the script, I was beside myself with excitement. I couldn't wait for this game, and I have to say, having played it, it's pretty damn good. It's definitely not brilliant like I was hoping it would be, and I mean, obviously, that's pretty high expectations. It's gotta be brilliant or that's it, I won't like it. But I really did appreciate so many aspects of it that the good outweigh, not even the bad, there's nothing bad about it, but the good outweigh the less than good, and I really enjoyed Slender the Arrival. Now, before I get into Slender the Arrival, let me very quickly explain what I loved about Slender. Very quickly. Simplicity. The fact that it was nothing but walking around the woods, collecting these pages, and Slender Man popping up at random was, I thought, genius. And it was terrifying. It really took me so long to beat it, and if you'd like to watch me finally beating the game, you can click the link down in the info to check that out. But when I saw the trailer for Slender the Arrival, I was a little bit worried because it looked a little more involved, and also the graphics were better, which is good and bad because I feel like the crappy graphics, not crappy because it was only one guy making the game, but the very simple graphics from the original, I think, are what made it so scary. So I was a little hesitant. I was excited, but hesitant. And I do think that some of the simplicity being lost takes away from the scariness of it. I mean, I still was getting spooked like crazy, but there was something different about playing the original. It wasn't so much that I was getting startled. I was genuinely terrified to play the game, to look at the screen. And in this, I never found myself afraid. I was never looking away or anything like that. I definitely jumped plenty of times and I screamed and laughed and I had a blast with it, but I think it is less scary. But I don't want that to suggest that it's not a good game, because I really thought it was a very, very good game, mainly because of the improved graphics, the fantastic sound design, not so much the story, I'll get into that in a moment, but the clever sort of take on the original concept of just collecting things. There were a lot of ways that they took that and made it interesting again, and they also added a character, which I will get into in a moment, that definitely throws a wrench in the works. But let me get into the story because, as I said, the Marble Hornets crew came in to write the script, and I think that's really awesome. In fact, the game not only feels very Marble Hornetsy, which I was surprised by because I kind of thought it was going to be its own thing, it also reads as Marble Hornets. So whenever I was reading a scrap or whatever, I totally read it in my head the same way that I read the text in a Marble Hornets entry. It kind of felt exactly like that. So I thought that was really cool. However, I do have to say, I'm a big fan of open-ended things and, letting you kind of, letting your imagination run wild with something. But I feel like you need a certain amount of information to be able to do that, and I don't think I got enough. Now, granted, I didn't collect every scrap. If I did, I'm sure I would have gotten more, but I did do some research to find out what I might have missed out on, and even still, it felt a little bit vague. Obviously, I'm sure that was intentional, but I would have liked a little bit more to the story, but that's just me. I'm sure a lot of people don't care about the story at all, because it's really not about that. It's about the gameplay, and the gameplay is pretty damn good. Like I said, I don't think it's as scary, but I don't know, running around in this world, I just had a blast with it. I felt like it was very sort of responsive, I guess, the way that the movements were and the way the running was. It felt very satisfying. Now, I don't want to give away everything you have to do in this game because I think it's fun to sort of experience it and be surprised by what you got to do next. But I will say that, it's obviously repetitive. It's kind of the same idea repeating, but there's more sort of exploration. There are things to pick up. And I have to say that I think Chapter 4 was the one where I was like, that is cool. The idea behind it, taking the same thing we've done, but the twist they put on it I thought was great. And as far as the new character goes, I have to say I was a little bit nervous about that. The character is very Marble Hornets, which, like I said, I'm surprised it was so Marble Hornets-esque, the game in general. I'm not complaining, I'm just saying. But the character, I thought, ended up being really clever because the way that you interact, I'll say, with the character is pretty cool, very frustrating, and the sound design for this character is horrifying, especially if you have headphones on. It is pretty damn spooky because just the tension is insane. So the fact that you have this new character sort of brings in an element of surprise that the original game gave us, so I thought that was really cool. But all in all, I have to say, I really do think Slender the Arrival was a very good game, mainly because I thought the graphics were amazing. I really thought they were gorgeous. I thought I was going to have to say, you know, for what it's worth, they were good. But man, I want to go to this place, especially during the daytime. It is beautiful. Maybe I don't want to go there, actually, now that I think about what happens in the game, but you get what I'm saying. The sound design, amazing, which, of course, that was a huge element to the original game. Really, really great in this game, especially the radio in the house. Oh my god, that's all I'm going to say. And aside from the fact that, like I said, I thought the story was, I don't want to say lacking, because it's almost like the story's just there to drive the gameplay. I would have liked a little bit more to it. I did think it was really cool in general. I liked the fact that it felt like I was kind of in a Marble Hornets world. But I am very curious as to what you thought of Slender the Arrival. I want to know what you think of the original Slender game versus this game. Definitely let me know what you think of the new characters. Let me know what chapter was your favorite. Let me know what you thought of the story, I guess, you know, without spoiling anything, because there is a, you know, there's an element of spoiler territory, I guess, if you don't want to know what happens. And of course, let me know if you were terrified playing this game or if you were less scared playing this than the original Slender like I was. Let me know anything that you want about Slender the Arrival, and that's pretty much it.